Here.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
This is the Zenit E. This is my first SLR. These cameras were built between 1965 and 1986 in the USSR in a factory called MKZ near Moscow. They built 3.3 million of these cameras. Yeah, that much. And since they're real Russian tanks, I bet most of them still exist. And well, that brings me to the value of this camera. I think you can find them easily on eBay for about $10, €10, something like that. I saw some around €50, really mint condition, but more than that I wouldn't pay for this camera. Having said that, it's a real good camera. If you know how to handle it, it's sturdy. Like I said, it's difficult to break. Although my father and I succeeded in breaking the tripod mount. Yeah. Long story, won't tell you. Okay, this camera. It has a light meter. It's selenium cells, and it was pretty special in those days. When light hits these cells, a needle on top of the camera here is moved, and you can position a circle on that needle, and you can read the f-stop and the shutter speed you should select in order to take a good picture. Shutter speed is set by this knob, pulling it out and turning it. It has shutter speeds from 1/30th to 1/500th of a second, and of course bulb mode. I learned today, that if this camera is set into bulb mode, and I will do so right now, you can release the shutter, turn the shutter button counterclockwise, and it will remain open until you turn it back clockwise, and then the mirror is falling back and the shutter is closed. Talking about the shutter, it has a cloth shutter. Let me show. No. And that brings me to one of the most dangerous things on those cameras. I've talked about it in my video on the Exacta as well, if I'm correct. If you want to set another shutter speed, you first cock the shutter, then you change the shutter speed. If you do it the other way around, the shutter will get stuck, and you're in repair mode from then, and you can be in it for a few days. To be honest, that was the reason why my father decided to buy a new camera. I think he wanted a new camera anyhow, but I asked him if I could have this camera, and well, while he was buying his new camera, I sat home and managed to repair the shutter, and since then this camera is mine, and it's working for 30 more years now. Yeah, what can I tell? The lens, this lens is the original one. It's the Helios 44. It's an 58 f2 lens. manual focus, of course, focus ring, and you have the aperture ring. Like I said, you read the aperture from here and the desired shutter speed, and you set the f-stop with this ring. To focus, you turn the second ring completely open, so you can focus with a clear view, and just before you release the shutter, you turn back this ring so the aperture is closed. I will try to show you. This way it's open, that way it's closed, if I'm correct, yeah. And then you can cock the shutter, release the shutter. Well, you saw this happening already, but it has a screw mount, an M42, also known as the Praktica mount. So this lens can be used on Praktica cameras as well. Yeah, that's about it. Is there anything else? Well, film release, push this button and take this knob out and you can rewind the film. All nice, still working. It has no flash shoe. You can buy these separate cold shoes and slide it just into there. And of course it has a sync port. It syncs at 30th of a second. And a self timer, of course, yes. And it gives you about 10-15 seconds to walk back and to all the people you want to take the picture of. Position yourself and have a picture. Yeah, that's about it. Did I forget something? Oh yeah, how old is this camera? Well, we have a serial number here, and the first 2 digits show the year when it's built, and in this case this is in 1970. Yeah, that old, and it's not even as old as I am, so you can imagine. That's about it. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you.